finish off the stream talking about our predicted lineup. Just before we go into predicted lineup, Ange has done his press conference. Could you bring up the injury graphic again, and we'll just go through the team news?
Yeah, so Giovanni Lo Celso is the new injury team news. In this one, he's picked up a little niggle in training. In fact, I was watching the training video and Gio was there, but I'm guessing it was from yesterday because Gio was playing. So he said that Gio didn't train today. Hopefully it's nothing serious, but obviously a bit annoying that he's out. But obviously that follows on the long-term absentees of Perisic, Solomon, Sessegnon, Van de Ven, Maddison, Dyer and Bentancur, who Ange says are not going to be seen before the new year. So there you go.
All right, well, let's get into predicted lineup. 4-3-3 formation as per usual. And in goal, we are going to go for Vicario.
Yeah, it's been a common theme the last few weeks. We've been saying, had a good game, but not much to do. Let's hope it's the same in this one. Not too many saves, but obviously he's been having a great season, and I'm loving every second of him.
Yeah, unbelievable season so far for Vicario, and another person who has had an unbelievable season is the right back, who most definitely will be right back on the day, and that's Pedro Porro.
Yeah, and he was speaking about Porro in his press conference. He was asked, has it been difficult for Porro to adapt to his new system? And are you surprised how well he's been playing? He said, look, when I came to the club, or when I looked at Porro, I didn't see anything in Pedro to suggest that he couldn't play the way I wanted to play. I could see the quality he's got. And look, and now he's showing it, isn't he? He's been our most consistent player this season. And I think performances like on Sunday, when he's in that kind of mood, he's just one of the most creative wing-backs there is, to be honest, when he's in that kind of mood. So we know he has the quality, just need him to show it as much as possible. So hope he continues it.
Yeah, and I feel like his performances have been getting progressively better as the season has worn on, and that's that is something to say, because in his first game of the season against Man United, he put in a great display, and I just feel like they've been getting better and better and better in all facets, the defensive side of the game and the offensive side of the game. So we're very lucky to have a player like Pedro Porro on our hands, in my opinion. Right centre back Cuti Romero, Andrew's been speaking about him in the press conference.
Yeah, another player who's mentioned. Obviously, he was talking about the tackle up against Callum Wilson. Who asked about, is that something you have to talk about to Romero about? Are you worried about his recklessness about these kind of tackles he makes? And he said, look, he doesn't think the challenge on Wilson was as reckless as anything else he's seen on a football pitch, and it's not something he's going to have a long conversation with Romero about. He knows what he gives us, and we're much better off having him on the pitch than not. So probably right thing to say, I think, on it. Obviously, we can't afford. It's right. We are better off with him on the pitch than not, but we have to have him on the pitch, and to do that, he can't be getting stupid cards, and so that's definitely something to mention. But I think he's been brilliant past 2 games, and I think he's made a real difference to our backline. So long may that continue.
We've had a lot of conversations, haven't we, about Cuti Romero ever since joining, about him trying, to hone in this aggressivity that he has in his game, and we've kind of been in agreement every conversation saying we don't want to take that element away from his game because it's such a key part of his game. But when we're so out on our legs at the moment, especially at centre-back as it is right now, what do you think the approach should be?
Yeah, I think he's got to just make sure he's available every game, because we can't afford for him to be missing right now. You got to remember, when he got that first red card, we had everyone fit. Van de Ven was there and everything. It wasn't like the situation it is now.
So, not 2 minutes later, we didn't.
Yeah, literally. So I think it's definitely important that he makes sure that he's not getting himself sent off over the next, especially until Van de Ven's back. I mean, look, I think it's always important not to get yourself sent off, but I agree with you. Like, at the moment, I think he has to just make an extra effort not to put in any more stupid challenges.
Yeah, because it really could have gone the other way against Newcastle, and then we'd be talking about 4 games out, which would have been absolutely disastrous. But
he's someone saying he's another booking away from a suspension.
Oh, is that right? Oh, God. That's probably most definitely going to come anyway. He gets booked every game.
But in the next 3 games, that's when the...
So we just need to hold on 3 games. Yeah. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Left centre-back is obviously going to be Ben Davies, and I think he's stepped in really well, hasn't he?
Yeah, another player that Andrew's been talking in his press conference about. He's saying how, Ben has really stepped in admirably, and he's still adapting to that role. Even now, as game by game, he's learning new things of how to play the role, but he's really adapted exceptionally. But he also did mention as well that we definitely need to sign another centre-back because we're so short in that area, and anything that happens to Davis or Romero, and we're struggling again in that position right now. So it's important we do that. But yeah, I think props to Davis. I think he definitely performed better than anyone would have expected in that role for the last 6 games, and he's doing a really good job. I still think it's clear that he's missing some specific attributes that we really need to make us just watertight. But I think for how we performed, I don't think I can ask for any more.
Do you think it's a massive plus then Awoniyi is out for this game? Because, physically up against Ben Davies, it could have been a bit of a mismatch.
Definitely, 100%. I think that's the one thing that Davies struggles against, really, when he's in that position. So now Awoniyi is a massive plus.
And then to make up the back four on the left-hand side, new contract he's been awarded with this week for a string of really good performances, Destiny Udogie.
Yeah, got his first goal on Sunday as well, having a brilliant season. So great that he's got tied him down for the next 7 years at least, or 6 years. So fantastic news about him. Again, another player that Ange was full of praise for in his press conference earlier. So, great news.
Moving on to the number 6 position, a player who's played his way back into the form in the last game, Yves Bissouma.
Yeah, and alongside the person we'll probably talk about next, he's really helped them maybe get back into form as well. Hopefully he carries on that form into this game, because it's going to be important. Forest have some very aggressive central midfielders that are, putting a lot of challenges. So if Bissouma can break those lines, that can go a long way to helping us break down this Forest team.
And alongside him as the number 8, we're going to talk about Pape Matar Sarr. And I think when he was out injured, I don't think the majority of I can only talk to myself really, but I didn't realise how much we actually missed him until we saw him in that Newcastle game.
Yeah, and I think he just makes a big difference when it comes to the energy he puts in the midfield, the platform he allows the other players to give, and he just covers so much ground, and it makes us just a lot more solid. I think it just gave us a lot more control on the pitch. I wouldn't say we were better offensively when he was on. I'm sorry. I just think with him on the pitch, it allows us to gain control of the game without losing too much defensively and giving up too many chances. And I think that's exactly what he gave us. And it was really great to see him back. And he was just all over the place in a good way. And hopefully that continues.
Yeah, and hopefully he'll be the next one on the list to get a new contract. But to make up that 3-man midfield, we're going to talk about Dejan Kulusevski, who, in my opinion, every time he's been in this position, he's been one of the best, if not the best player on the park.
Yeah, I think he's put in a really great display against Newcastle, showed what he could do in that position. Obviously, no Lo Celso, so it kind of makes the decision very easy for Ange to put him there. But I think it's a no-brainer anyway. Started there on Sunday, was one of our better players again, like he has been whenever he started in the centre. And I think when we're attacking Forest and we're giving him the ball under pressure, he's so strong, he can turn on the ball, he can open up space, and he's got the quality to pick the lock as well, so he's going to be super important in this game. Yeah,
so that's a midfield 3 of Bissouma, Sarr and Kulusevski. On the right-hand side, it's a return to the City ground for Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, it's going to be super important that he's stretching Nottingham Forest as much as possible, because Forest in this game, they like to play, they're probably going to play a back 5. They're probably going to look to make the pitch very narrow in the centre, not a lot of space. So if he can take on that wing back and open up space out wide and make sure he's stretching the pitch and giving as much space to those central players as much as possible, that's going to be really important to making sure that we can find spaces and pockets of spaces inside this Forest team. So he's going to have a really important, because I think out of all the players, he's going to making the most width.
Yeah, absolutely. And on the left-hand side, back on the left, after a really good performance against Newcastle, Heung-min Son.
Yeah, and let's hope he continues that good form. Obviously, he's actually played the majority of the season up front, but went back on the left against Newcastle, played really well. With Forest playing a back 5, I envisage it being fairly difficult for Son to impact the game, maybe as much as Johnson, because I feel like as much as he did really well against Newcastle, will he be able to pick up those same positions against a back 5? Look, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully he doesn't get lost in this game, but let's hope he puts a very similar performance against Forest as he did on Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. And then up top, we are obviously going to go with our number 9, which is Richarlison. Just had his best performance in a Spurs shirt, scored his first 2 goals with his feet as well. So let's hope he can back that performance up.
Yeah, and especially with Forest having a back 3, it looks like in this game, having someone who's physical in the penalty area who can challenge centre-backs is going to be even more crucial for when we're putting crosses in the box and from set pieces. So it was really a breath of fresh air to see Richarlison in the form he was on Sunday. Looked a lot freer and a lot sharper than he ever has. So hopefully he takes that momentum into this game.
All right, well, let's run through that lineup with you guys one more time. In goal, Vicario. Right back, Pedro Porro. Left back, Destiny Udogie. Christian Romero and Ben Davies as the centre-back pairing, with Bissouma in the 6, Pape Matar Sarr and Deki in as a midfield 3, Heung-min Son on the left, Brennan Johnson on the right, Richarlison up top in the preview. Me and Sim are both in agreement of our score prediction. We both said 3-0 to Spurs, and if we do go and have a convincing win like that, then I think you can safely say Spurs are back on form, aren't they?
Yeah, well, we have to do it. Yeah, look, 100%. I think it was a fantastic performance on Sunday. Let's hope we just take that in. I think just take it game by game at the moment. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. So that is the preview stream done and dusted. Let us know your score predictions in the comment section below. And in terms of the game tomorrow night, Sim will be in the stadium for you once again, grabbing you all the content from inside that City ground. Me and Barnaby will be here on the watch long. So come and join us for the game tomorrow night. It's sure to be a big one, but thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.